Almost 1 year ago today, I had placed an online order for a 2018 Tesla Model S. The price tag on this used Tesla Model S was $76,300. Today, a Tesla Model S of this almost exact same spec, but with the added benefit of full self-driving capability and lower miles, which is an additional $15,000 for full self-driving, is now going for $55,800. That is almost a $20,000 difference from just 1 year ago and this order that I had placed. Now, what the heck has happened to these prices? Now, thankfully, when I had placed that order for the Tesla Model S back in April of 2022, right after that, I had read a couple articles about how towards the end of 2022, experts were expecting that used car prices were going to begin to drop and come down from their all-time highs. And thankfully, because I read these articles and because I wasn't in a rush to purchase a vehicle, I decided to cancel that order. And today, I'm so glad that I did because I don't know about you, but I absolutely hate overpaying for anything, including cars. I like to try to get the best deal that I possibly can. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 4 reasons why Tesla prices are crashing, and it may not be what you think. And then we're going to see if now is finally the time to get the best deal you can get on a Tesla that we've seen in an extremely long time. So let's dive in. All right, so the number 1 reason why Tesla prices are crashing is because supply and demand from 2022 has completely shifted. Now, in 2022, Tesla was notoriously in the news for continuing to raise the prices on all of their different models across the board. Everything from your Tesla Model S, the 3X, and the Y. And what started happening in mid-2022, these prices began to increase and people started to have a little bit of FOMO, thinking that because the prices were going higher and higher and higher, they might be priced out of the market. And so people rushed to place more and more orders for Teslas, buying these Teslas at all-time highs. And naturally, now Tesla has a lot of unhappy customers because the market has really shifted. So here's a huge shout out to a Reddit user by the name of Genso, who put together this amazing spreadsheet on exactly what happened to these car prices. Now, I am an absolute nerd when it comes to data, so don't just believe what I'm saying, but let's actually look at the numbers of what happened in the last year or so. Now, Genso did an amazing job by kind of splitting up the different models, as we can see here at the bottom of this spreadsheet. And you can see right here by looking at the dates, here is 2022. And you can see that these prices just took a steep incline because there was demand and there was supply shortage when it came to Teslas. Now we're going to see the same pattern follow almost across the board. So here we are looking at the Model X. Again, that steep incline into 2022. Let's look at the Model 3, some of the more popular models. Again, seeing those same exact inclines in prices, and your Model Ys. Now what I love about Genso, and I'm going to put a link to this chart down in the description below, is that he gave us all the data of exactly how this happened. So let's take a look at the Model Y, for example. Now you can see right here, if we come into 2022, you can see exactly where all the price increases started happening. You know, in October of 21, $1,000 increase. Then November of 21, another $1,000 increase. Then we see a $3,000 increase. Then another $3,000 and a $2,000 increase, a $500 increase, and so on. And it just continued to rise. And before you knew it, we were seeing prices of the once affordable option Model Y going upwards of $60,000, making it not so affordable for people. But since then, the supply and demand curves have finally shifted a bit. Now, we know that interest rates for lending are at all-time highs, upwards of 8, 9, 10, 11% on new cars, and on used cars, even higher than that, making it very difficult for people to get affordable auto financing on these cars, which means that the price that you have to pay and the cost to you as a buyer has increased significantly. So one of the things that has caused in the market is for demand to go down because affordability is no longer there. So now to help combat that, Tesla has began to lower their prices once more. Now we can see going into 2023, there's just a steep drop off. So on January 11th of 2023, the Model Y was priced out at $69,999. Okay, almost $70,000. Here today, it is down to $56,999. That is a massive difference in price, which is already giving us good signs and good vibes that the market is improving and these Teslas are now affordable. Now, some additional things that happened with Tesla throughout that time is that they did open up more manufacturing facilities like Giga Texas, allowing them to increase their production. And the beauty of Tesla is that they control their own production because they handle the entire process from start to finish till you, the consumer, purchases the car, which gives them a lot of flexibility in how they're able to move and how quickly they are able to move. Now, the number 2 reason why Tesla prices are starting to crash now is because we know that there are so many more electric vehicles that are out on the market now. It's crazy. Almost every single manufacturer out there now has some sort of EV offering to their customers. From the Ford Lightning F-150 to Porsche's Taycan to Hyundai Ioniqs, there are endless amounts of EVs for people to choose from. And because there is more choice now, there are so many more cars to choose from. Tesla is not the only player on the block. That means Tesla has increased competition. Now, for those of us that are in the Turo world, we all know that when competition increases, it tends to drive prices down. Now, the other thing that we know is that Mr. Musk is a very business savvy man, and he knows that now that there are new kids on the block coming in with their EVs and playing in his playground, that he really wants to dominate the market. In fact, he has been known to say that Tesla is deliberately dropping their prices so that they can capture as much market share as they possibly can, as fast as they can, as these other competitors make their way onto the scene. For the first time in Tesla's history, they launched paid advertising. Now, that is something they have never done, and that is a clear indication that they are going to get scrappy and they're going to compete with the market. And we love this as buyers because that means we are going to get the ultimate value and deal if we are in the market looking for a Tesla, and that goes the same for other EVs as well. Because there's more competition moving into the market, these companies are going to compete on price, which is finally going to turn the market into a buyer's market. That means we're going to have optionality, we're going to have better price points and more affordability, so the consumer wins in the end, and that's exactly what we want to see. So kudos to you, Elon, for helping drop these prices and competing, because for those of us that have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for a great deal, this might just be the time. And the number 3 reason why Tesla prices are continuing to come down is because Elon and Tesla want to remain true to their original mission of providing affordable EVs to the masses. And back in 2022, where we saw price hike after price hike after price hike because of supply chain shortages, people were extremely unhappy. Now, as of 2023, there have already been 6 price drops across the board for Tesla, which is major. No other brand or manufacturer has done this so far this year. And that's why Teslas are so sought after now and make for such great value. Now, again, don't take my word for it. I am a data-driven person. So let's take a look at the charts and the numbers of exactly what's happening so that we can further understand this. Now, here, I love using Car Guru's price trend graphs. It is one of my secret tools of monitoring the market and really studying and analyzing the trends in the data. And it absolutely blows my mind when you actually look at the raw data and what's happening. So here, what I've done is I've dated this back to 2019 so that we can get an idea of how things were prior to 2020 and where they are today. And I've picked some of the major brands for us to look at, like Ford, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, and Tesla, to kind of get an idea of relatively how the market has moved. Now, we see obviously in 2019 going into 2020, things were, relatively steady. That was, pre-normal. Then all of a sudden, going into 2022, we began to see sharp inclines in prices. So for Tesla, we saw used Tesla prices increase by about 25% on average. And that's crazy for a brand like Tesla, given that their average car that was used costed almost $68,000. Now, we saw this across the board. Porsche's prices increased by about 36.7%. Mercedes-Benz saw an increase of almost 45%, and we see that just even for cars like Ford, which saw an increase of 50% in prices in 2022. Now, the big difference, the thing that shocks me beyond all of it, is if we look at the present day trends, you see everyone else has kind of remained even keel, maintaining their high prices and trying to milk the market for what it is. Now, we can see here Porsche is still above 31% price increases since 2019. Mercedes-Benz sitting right at about 38%. Your Toyota's going for above 42% in comparison to 2019. But if you look at Tesla, and it is one of the only brands that I've ever seen this trend for, which is incredible, their prices now are negative 15.4% of what they were in 2019. Now, I get people in my comment section all the time, oh, you talk about buying cars at a good deal, but it's impossible to find good deals. My friends, that is absolutely not the case. All it takes is a little bit of research and a little bit of studying the patterns and the data and the trends to figure out where you can find that steal of a deal. And that is on Teslas. I can almost promise you that you won't see this anywhere else except for Teslas. And they have a lot of things that are pushing for these great prices for consumers. And if you look down here, one of the things that I love about Car Gurus is if you go down to where the actual brand is. So we're going to look at Tesla right here. You can see just year over year, their prices have dropped by over 30%. And you can see that right here. We see every other brand. You won't see anything that is even near 30% in any other make or model, which is what makes buying a Tesla right now such a phenomenal deal. Now, the other thing that you can do on Car Gurus is that you can actually go into Tesla, and then you can even look at what the price change has been for each model, which again, year over year, it is just phenomenal, with the Model S having the biggest price drop, which is the car that I'm going to buy. And it is such a steal of a deal. So by looking at the data alone, you can discern that Tesla is positioned in a very unique way. And it is such a great deal, regardless of what the bottom ends up being, because those prices now sit way below, over 15% below what they were in 2019. And that just goes to show you what I opened this video with, which was in April of 2022, I placed an order for a Tesla Model S for over $76,000. That same Tesla Model S with fewer miles, plus the $15,000 full self-driving option, now going for about $55,000. I thank my lucky stars that I didn't purchase the car last year, because had I seen those prices today, I would have just felt devastated with the price differences. So this is why, if you've been sitting on the sidelines thinking about buying a Tesla, now is definitely the time to get a fantastic deal on one of these cars. Now, if any of you guys are gearing up to purchase a new car, particularly in this environment, I have a free car buying guide, which is 100% for free, on how to negotiate the best car deal available on my website, powerhost.club. So you can check it out, download it for free, and kind of put some of those negotiation tactics into action. Now, I'm going to round off with the number 4 reason why Tesla prices are crashing. And that has a lot to do with our macroeconomic conditions. Now, we won't go too deep into it, but the key things to know are that interest rates for lending are very, very, very high, making it less affordable to make big purchases like cars and homes. We see that with mortgage rates as well. So what that does is that it brings demand down. Now, in order for businesses to drum up more demand and to keep people coming in through the door and buying from them, they begin to lower prices to bake in more value into their offering. So that's exactly what we're seeing Tesla do. So what we can anticipate in the future is that these things will potentially flip in a different direction, right? Eventually, those interest rates are going to come back down. Spending will loosen up a little bit. The macroeconomic conditions will improve. Demand will increase naturally. And that means that prices could potentially go up as well. And that is why I think now is absolutely one of the best times to buy any Tesla across the board, whether it's a Model S, a Model X, a Model 3, or Y, whatever floats your boat. If you bought that car car today, you would be getting one heck of a deal. And it's one of those deals where once you get it done, you feel good knowing that you got one of the best deals out there, especially in comparison to a lot of people who purchased these cars last year from the fear that these prices were going to continue to rise. So if you want to kind of go further down that route and you're getting ready to buy your next car, one of the best things that you can do is shop a lot of dealerships to get the absolute best price. And for that, you want to exercise one of the best negotiation techniques that I've come across, which is called BATNA, and you can check out that video right here, which is going to walk you through the whole thing. I'll look forward to catching you guys in the comment section down below.